Good morning, everyone. Good morning, friends and family at First Church. I want to give a special welcome for those of you who are here live, and also those of you joining on YouTube and Facebook later today, this weekend. So I want to start off with a bit of nostalgia, and I'm sure some of you will remember it, especially those of you who remember music of the 40s or 50s. Now, I'm not really into that music myself, but I certainly remember that music being played. There was a song that used to play everywhere during the war era, and it's light, it's catchy, it's a little playful, but it held a lot of meaning for a generation of people who were trying to stay connected across oceans and battlefields. And the lyric went something like this: "Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me." Does that ring a bell? I'm sure many of you remember it. That song was different things for different people. It was a promise, a sweet, almost flirty way of saying, wait for me, be loyal, don't give your heart away while I'm gone. It was the Andrews Sisters that made it famous, and for many people of that era, it was burned into their memory. Well, I hadn't thought of that song for decades, I can promise you, not even once. But a few days ago, someone sent me a little prosperity offering. It was an email. It was a sales pitch, actually. And in it, the writer used a metaphor about sitting under an apple tree, searching for, you're contemplating prosperity and food and how to acquire good, and realizing that the good that the person was looking for was obviously right above them. The apples were over their head. So we have different metaphors that we use all the time in religious science, but in this case, it was an advertisement about somebody, again, sitting under an apple tree, and they're hungry. They're looking for food and not realizing that they could reach up and have it. All the apples in the world. And of course, as soon as I got that advertisement, immediately that song came to mind. And I hadn't heard it in decades, but all the words were in my head, which amazes me. Instantly, I remembered every word. So this wasn't really my kind of music. It was probably my parents' or maybe even my grandparents' music. I thought, isn't it amazing? Isn't it funny how the things that we remember, just with a thought or a couple notes. So as I was thinking about this idea of the good's at hand, the kingdom of God is at hand, the good is at hand, in this case, the apple tree. They're all around you and available to you. You could just reach out and touch it. The blessing's there. It's always been there. The answer is always there also. The good that we're seeking and searching for is already within reach. It truly is. The kingdom of God, as we say, or the kingdom of good is at hand. But too often we don't look at what's here. Sometimes we say deep at the center of our being, everything is there. God in you, the hope of your glory. Spirit in you. So we don't really properly assess what we already have. And maybe we don't trust that it's there. We don't claim it. So this morning, let's walk together under that metaphorical apple tree. So let's take a good look at what we've been missing. Let's reclaim the seat of our truth. Let's stop sitting with anything that doesn't feed our soul. So say this with me, if it resonates with you. I look up, and I claim my good. It's already here. So you can say it to yourself, I look out, I look above, and I claim my good. It's already here. And let's start with the most important idea today. You're not sitting in a barren field. You are sitting under a tree that already contains the answer. It already contains the answer to what you've asked for. You already have within you everything that you want or everything you need. You just haven't looked up in a while. You just haven't looked up or looked out in a while. The good you're seeking, the healing you've prayed for, the breakthrough you visualized, it's not missing. is not somewhere else either. It's not for someone else. It's just unrecognized. Louise Hay, whose legacy we carry forward here every week on Thursday, once said, "I am open and receptive to the abundance of the universe." Can you say that and mean it? I am open and receptive to the abundance of the universe. That sounds wonderful on a greeting card, but it's the way she lived. She didn't just chase prosperity. Louise Hay she's very, very prosperous. She didn't chase it. She didn't beg for it. She didn't panic when it wasn't showing up either. Louise tuned her awareness into the reality the Spirit had already provided, and her job was simply to stay open to that prosperity. And that's what we're being called to do every week, every hour of our lives, to see the good, to know the good is at hand, the kingdom is at hand. So if you're looking for a sign, you're waiting for a sign, look around you, look up. Don't look at the dirt. Look up. The apples, for example, don't grow underground. So I want to talk to you about something else. I call it, as a term, spiritual amnesia. And that happens when we forget what we already know. You know that life responds to our thinking. We know that we're connected to Source. We know that we're one with the creative intelligence that never withholds anything from anyone. But sometimes, especially when we're tired or we're discouraged or overwhelmed by the world, we forget. That's what we do in the teaching. Remembering and forgetting. That's the game that we play. So when you're remembering who you are, you're in the flow. When we're reacting and when we're forgetting who we are, we feel cut off from the good. Thing is, you're established in the good. You live, you move, you're being in it. So I'll be honest, there's been times in my life when I've done everything, where I thought I've done everything right spiritually, and I still found myself being discouraged. And that's when I have to really double down and dig in and do the work. Act as if, practice. Not long ago, I sat down to do an affirmative prayer, and instead of feeling the warmth of spirit, I felt anxious, tense, a little bit of anxiety. And I caught myself thinking, why isn't anything happening? I've been doing this treatment, for quite a while. I was almost starting to feel sorry for myself for a moment. And then I thought to myself, oh my goodness, look up, get a grip, you know better. So I need to be gentle on myself like everyone else. We just get back, we just get refocused, recentered, and realize that we're one with the one, that we're supplied and supported, and take the time and the effort to connect with Source. I was so focusing then on what hadn't happened yet that I'd missed the evidence of the progress, the guidance, and the supply that had already began. And of course, the moment I realized that, everything turned around. We forget that we are the authors of our experience. We are the gardeners of consciousness. And if we're not planting love, trust, and clarity, we might find ourselves harvesting anxiety, doubt, and confusion. So that's the moment to pause when you find yourself in the weeds or when things aren't going the way you want. That's the moment we take the pause. That's the moment to connect and wake up. That's the moment to say, wait a second, I'm sitting under the apple tree. The fruit is here. The good is here. I just need to remember. So here's a little practice for you. Here's something you can do anytime you feel disconnected. Take a pause, stop, breathe in gently, and then ask yourself, what thought have I been feeding today? What have I been obsessing about? What story am I sitting under right now? Is this thought aligned with the life I want to live? Those are simple questions. And whatever comes up, affirm, Spirit is not confused, and neither am I. Again, Spirit is not confused, and neither am I. This little practice pulls you out of spiritual amnesia and brings you back into conscious creation. You see, we live in very busy times. I read a lot. There's a lot going on. This is a time of artificial intelligence, robotics, a time of self-driving cars, satellites, expansion in just about every field. Life seems to be speeding up these days in ways we can't even understand. And many of us are very distracted, more distracted than at any time before. It seems like we're pulled in every direction. We compare our lives to all the images that we see of other people's lives on media, perfect stories, perfect lives. We measure ourselves and compare ourselves to what other people choose to show us. Some people are chasing validation, likes, approval, messages, applause. And in all of that looking around, we forget to pause. We forget to come back to ourselves and realize how great thou art. We forget to look within and to notice what's within you. To notice that you are one with this incredible, awesome power. We forget to recognize the truth that's quietly waiting to be seen. Because our good is not out there. Our good is right here within us. It's around us. It operates through us. It responds to us. And sometimes it's hanging right above us, like that apple tree, like the fruit of a tree that we've been sitting under all along. I've always told you in many of the classes, you're standing on holy ground, meaning you are an individualization of this one spirit. You are so supplied and supported. You have such awesome power. So it's time for us to become aware of that, to remind ourselves that it's in us, operating through us now, in us. So let me say this as clearly as I can. You don't need to go get it. You just need to be aware of it, to see it, to know it, to realize it. So this is not a message about manifesting more. This is a message about receiving what's already ripening within you. In religious science, Ernest Holmes reminds us that thing we ask for is already prepared for us. Our work is to open up and to accept it. David Walker, a well-known teacher, said we need to open up the avenues within mind so we can receive the good that's already here. So again, the thing we ask for is already prepared for us. Our work is to accept it, not reject the good. Accept the good. We're not creating something out of thin air. What we're doing is we're aligning with what we already have. We are aligning with what has already been established in the invisible. So the shift isn't in the universe. The shift that's necessary is within you, within me. When you shift from grasping to gratitude, when you shift from fear to having faith, when you shift from wondering to witnessing the good, the apples fall, the good appears, the answers arrive, and you realize you've been sitting under the tree all along, supplied and supported. So let's plant this truth just a little deeper with a couple short affirmations. You can say them to yourself or out loud if it helps you to claim them. Here they are. I'm not chasing my good. I am welcoming it. I sit under the tree of my answered prayer. My awareness is the key that unlocks my supply. And then I look and I see the blessings. They're already here. They are already mine. The apples of my good are not lost. They are ripening in Spirit's perfect time. In a moment, we'll talk about what happens when we do look up and look around us, and why it matters, and why who sits beside us matters. Because part of staying in your good is learning to look around you, to look up, to look within, not for validation, but looking for the truth. And that's where this old song gets surprisingly powerful. So let's go back to the song for just a moment. Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. It's lighthearted. It's playful. It was probably meant to be a little flirty. But today I want you to hear that lyric as a spiritual message. Not from a boyfriend, not from a girlfriend, not from anyone else but hear it from you, from your higher self, from the part of you that remembers who you really are. So let's imagine something together. You're sitting beneath this wonderful apple tree, and you've been affirming and believing and hoping and waiting. Maybe you've been a little bit discouraged because you've done the work, the visioning, the inner work, and the fruit still hasn't fallen. And then something happens. You feel a stillness, you feel a nudge, a moment of clarity, and you look, and there it is. You see it. You see the fruit of all of that. You feel the good that's been hovering above you and around you all along. And then you see something even more powerful. You see your reflection. You see your soul, your truest self. Not the self that worries, not the self that doubts, but you see the one that knows, that's confident. And in that moment, you say to yourself, don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. If Louise Hay were here right now, she'd walk up to you with the mirror, and she would tell you to look into your own eyes, and she'd ask you to speak to yourself with honesty, love, and courage. So let's do that now, at least in our minds, spiritually, even if there's no mirror in front of you. Let's take a breath. Bring to mind your own image, the you that's been through a lot. Bring it to mind with love. Bring your image to mind, the you that gets up every morning and tries again, the you that's doing the best that you can, and say silently to yourself, don't sit under that apple tree with anyone else but me. Tell yourself, I got you. Let that sink in. This isn't selfish. This is spiritual fidelity. This is loving yourself. It's about not giving your power away. It's about not handing your attention over to fear, not letting shame, comparison, or criticism pull up a chair beside you. It's about being loyal to the deepest part of you. So let's reflect for a second. Who have you been sitting with at your tree in recent times? What's been getting your attention? Take a breath and gently ask yourself, have I been sitting in scarcity? Have I been sitting in worry? Have I been sitting with regret? Have I been sitting with grievances? Have I been sitting with someone else's opinion of who I am? Have I been letting past failures whisper in my ear? Have I been inviting shame to eat my fruit? If anything or any of those resonate, know one thing. You don't need to apologize for it. You just need to choose differently. Take back your seat, or your seat under the tree, and say gently but clearly, thank you, but I won't be sharing my apple tree with that anymore. I won't be sharing it with that idea or any of that. You don't need to argue with those voices or those messages. You certainly don't need to explain your journey to anyone either. You can bless and you can release, because this sacred place, this orchard of your becoming, is not for anyone who doesn't honor it. Let's go a step deeper. What does it mean to be loyal to your truth? It means to stay faithful to your vision, especially when it's hard. Stay faithful, stay the course. It means refusing to let temporary circumstances define your identity. It means anchoring into the knowing that you are enough, you're more than enough right now. This is not about being perfect. It's about being present, being aware of who you are. It's about saying, even if the harvest isn't here yet, I trust the tree. Even if others can't see it, I know it's growing. I know what's growing within me. And even if the world is chaotic, I choose peace under this tree. Now, if you're feeling a little silly saying that lyric to yourself, that's good. That was the point for today. Because when something is playful, it usually sticks. And when it sticks, it starts to live in your consciousness. So the next time you feel fear knocking at your door, the next time you find yourself endlessly scrolling on media, or the next time you catch yourself comparing yourself to someone else's perfect picture moments, pause, stop, just pause, take a breath, and say, don't sit under that apple tree with anyone else but me. Make it your anchor, that little saying. Make it your inner smile. Make it your sacred redirection. If you're with me right now, wherever you're watching, I want to invite you into something simple. In your mind, gently finish the sentence. Lately, I've been sitting under my apple tree with whatever answer comes up. Lately, I've been sitting under my apple tree with whatever comes to mind. Let the answer rise without judgment, just awareness. Now affirm quietly, I bless it and I release it and I take my seat again. So let's seal this moment in with a few powerful affirmations. Say them softly or boldly, whatever feels right for you. Say to yourself, I am loyal to my inner knowing. I'm loyal to my inner wisdom. I reclaim my seat under the tree of truth. I sit with peace, with joy, with faith. I don't share this sacred space with fear. I look and I remember who I am. I stay seated in my spirit. I trust what is manifesting, what is growing. In a moment, we're going to talk about something just as important. It's timing. Because the fruit doesn't fall just because we demand it. The fruit falls when it's ready. And there's a reason your harvest shows up right on time, even if it feels late. So far we've talked about seeing the good that's already here. And we've talked about staying the course, staying loyal to our truth. But there's that last piece that's essential for us when we're on our spiritual path. We must learn to trust the process. We must learn to trust the timing, because just like the apple doesn't ripen the second we plant the seed, our manifestations don't arrive on our personal calendar either. They arrive in season, they arrive in alignment, they arrive when our consciousness is ready to receive. They arrive when we are without resistance, without panic, and without force. So think of a real orchard. I grew up where there are apple orchards everywhere. No farmer goes out to the tree and yells at it. Why haven't you blossomed yet? Why are you taking so long? What's wrong with you? Instead, they tend the tree. They trust the process. They wait, not passively, but faithfully. And that's what we're learning to do here. In religious science, Ernest Holmes taught, we don't create the law, we use it. That means we don't control how spirit brings forth the fruit. We align with the law of mind. We do our part, and then we trust the unfolding. I have a brief story about a woman who wanted good now. I once knew her. Her name was Jean, or I'm going to call her Jean, who was working on healing her financial story. And she was doing her affirmations religiously. She had a vision board also. She was doing the work, what we call the work. But every week she'd come to class frustrated because she didn't have the demonstration right away. She'd say, I'm under the tree that you talk about. Where is the fruit? But she wasn't really under the tree because she was pacing all around. She was pushing and she was demanding. She was trying to force Spirit's hand on her schedule. And week after week, we gently remind her, Janie, the fruit doesn't fall because you're tapping your watch. It falls when the branch is ready. And one day, after some time of inner work and a time of release, she came in all excited because a job was offered to her with an amount of money that she didn't think possible for her. She was starting to pay her bills and all these burdens had lifted. And do you know what she observed? She said it was there the whole time. I just wasn't ready to hold it. And that's what we talk about when we say it's ripening. And that's really divine timing. That's what happens when we sit under the tree with trust. And to be fair, it's not always easy to wait. We live in a world of instant updates, real-time notifications, overnight shipping. We're used to clicking a button and seeing results. But spiritual things don't operate on Amazon Prime. They operate on inner readiness. They respond to our alignment, not our anxiety. So when you feel the panic rise within you and you want to shake the tree, pause. Take a deep breath. Remember the truth that your good is not lost. Your prayers have not expired. The blessing is not being withheld. It's simply ripening. And your job, beloved, is to stay seated and trust the process, not in helplessness, but in great confidence, not in passivity, but in peace. So let's talk about something that people often experience, but they don't always say out loud. What have I been affirming, but I still feel stuck? That's real. It doesn't mean you failed. It means you're in the waiting season. You're still aligning yourself. You're still expanding. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Sometimes the affirmation needs to take root in the subconscious before the fruit will show up in your experience. So never, never, never give up. Never criticize yourself. Stay under the tree. Trust the process of life. Trust the ripening. So let's speak this truth into the atmosphere one more time. I trust in the ripening of my life. I do not rush the fruit of spirit. I'm aligned, I'm supplied and supported. Everything arrives in the perfect season. So let me say this as we prepare to close. The apple tree isn't just a metaphor for prosperity. It's a symbol of your wholeness, your healing, your path, your calling. And sometimes we're so focused on the fruit, we forget to rest in the shade of the tree. You don't have to figure all these things out all in a day. You don't have to make anything happen alone. You just have to stay seated in your truth and to look out and look within, look around you. Let your awareness soften now. You don't need to close your eyes. Just let yourself feel into this moment. Have a little process here. Let yourself walk through a wide open field. Notice it's quiet, peaceful. The breeze is soft and steady. You can hear the faint rustle of the leaves. You can notice the sun, warm but not hot. There's a sweetness in the air like ripe fruit, late summer, a promise kept. In the distance, you see a beautiful apple tree. It's strong, steady, full of branches, full of life. And as you walk toward it, the ground beneath your feet is soft. The grass is cool. The air smells clean and familiar. And you sit down and beneath it, not with urgency, but with reverence. This is your tree, your life, your answered prayer. And above you, just above you, are apples. Some still growing, some are ripening. Some are so ready they're just about to fall. And in this moment, you feel peace. You look up, you breathe in, knowing that you're supported. You breathe in the truth that you are supplied. You breathe in the remembrance that spirit never, never forgets your good. And now you see a figure sitting beside you. It's you, your higher self. It's your truth, your knowing, your calm, your light. And with a smile you say, don't sit under this apple tree with anyone else but me. You say it with love. You say it with loyalty. And you say it with laughter. You are claiming your place, your promise, your peace, your rest. You breathe and you trust the ripening. So say this in your heart as we close today. I sit under the apple tree and I am fed. I don't rush the fruit. I don't chase the outcome. I sit with peace. I sit with connection, with presence, and I sit with me. So this is a time for us to close with our affirmative prayer, knowing that there is one energy, one life. It's infinite, it's intelligent, it's abundant. And that life is living itself through each of us now. It has already said yes to our prayers. It has already ripened our blessings. It has already paved the way for greater good than we can imagine. We no longer grasp. We no longer wait and worry. We no longer entertain guests that don't belong at the table of our truth. We sit in stillness. We listen for direction. We look up. We look around us. We receive because we know who we are. And we trust that His Spirit is doing for us both within us and around us. And we are loyal to our truth. We are seated at our place and our peace. We're open to good, and we give thanks for the orchard that's always been here. And so it is. So, if you want to take this further this week, I'll give you a little spiritual challenge. Every morning this week up, before you do anything, take a pause. It's always a good idea to do that. Anyway, sit for at least a moment, visualize your tree of abundance, and say, I trust the ripening. And if you want to go deeper, you could look in your mirror, if you have a mirror nearby, and say, don't sit under that apple tree with anyone else but me. Don't give that power away. This practice builds your loyalty, your connection to truth, not the world on the world's timeline, and not to other people's opinions, but to the Spirit that lives within you. So, welcome back, everyone. Today's Sunday's message continues in a moment with our Zoom community sharing, so stay tuned. Thank you very much.